This is the R5 Mark II from Canon. It's a beast of a camera and the autofocus is practically magic, but there is a lot to learn. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I've got mine set up, how I use customized buttons and custom shooting modes. Way back when I got my first camera, autofocus was easy. You'd half press the shutter button to autofocus and then press it all the way to take the shot. That was all there was to it. As I got more into photography, I upgraded my gear, and then I learned how to separate focusing from shutter release. I moved focusing to a button on the back of the camera, and then the shutter button just released the shutter, just took the picture. And then the original R5 came along, and I needed two separate focus modes on the back buttons. One of them would just focus on the currently selected AF point, and the other would activate eye or subject tracking. And that worked really well, but then this came along, the Mark II with even better autofocus. After living with this for a few months, I think I've got my autofocus setup dialed in. So I thought I'd show you exactly what I've done. You're going to have to bear with me here because I've got the camera plugged in with this HDMI cable so I can record the screen. The menu doesn't actually show up on the touchscreen, so I'll be scrolling around with the wheels. Wish me luck. Okay, so the first change I make is I always put AF operation into servo mode. I find it really flexible because you can change how it operates by how you press the button. Let me give you an example. I'm going to knock this out of focus manually. If I just tap my focus button, bang, straight in, as if it's in one-shot mode. But if I hold it and then move the subject, it's actively tracking it. As soon as I let go of the button, it stops tracking. One tap again and it's back in. So depending on how you press it, you've got one-shot or continuous tracking. You've got the best of both worlds without having to make a change. And obviously, if you've got it like this, you can focus, recompose, and take the shot. All right, let's get into customizing buttons. It's all the way over here in the 6 menu, the olive green one, and there it is, customized buttons for shooting. First of all, I change how the shutter button works. You'll notice I've got no autofocus functionality on this at all. It's just metering. And obviously, it takes the picture when you push it all the way down, but a half press will just start the metering. I need to move that autofocus functionality somewhere, and I've got it on the back of the camera on the AF on button. Oh, and just to be clear, all of this is in photo mode, not video mode. I'm only making these changes if I'm taking stills, not video. And I've got this set to just do the basic autofocus. It will lock on to whatever your current focus point is. And I'll get to how I set my focus points in a bit. So next up on the star button, or the AE lock button, I've got eye detection autofocus set. This was one of the more powerful new features brought in with the original R5. If there's a human or an animal in your frame, it'll lock onto one of their eyes if it can see them. And if it can't find an actual eyeball, it'll lock onto that subject in general. So as an example, there's no eye here, but if I use that mode, it's actually trying to find a subject. And the third and final mode I've got on the back is using the AF point select button. I programmed another button to do that, and I'll come on to that in a bit. And I use this one when I'm using the eye control autofocus. This is the one that'll watch your eye in the viewfinder and work out where you're looking, and it moves a tracking point around on that. If I tap this button, then the camera will focus on that point, what I'm actually looking at. I don't use eye control very often. It can be quite distracting in the viewfinder. So I've used another button to turn that on and off, which leads us nicely on to the buttons on top of the camera that I've reprogrammed. Up here I've customized 2 buttons. One is the red video record button. I've never found a need to use this when shooting stills, but if I do need to switch quickly, the R5 Mark II has a dedicated switch for going between video and photo. I've got the record button set to flick between my pre-selected AF areas. You might notice I'm only cycling through 4 here. That's all I've got activated. You can limit those in the menus. You'll find it in the 5th AF menu called Limit AF Areas. If you go into this, you can individually turn them on and off. And you can see here I've limited mine to Spot AF, 1 Point AF, Expanded Area AF, and then Flexible Zone 1. The other one I've got programmed is the light button, the button that's supposed to illuminate the LCD panel on top of the camera. Has anybody ever used that button for what it's intended? Let me know in the comments. And when eye control is on, I can use the 3rd button on the back of the camera. That's the AE point select one to lock onto wherever my eye is looking in the viewfinder. Now, as I said, all of those button customizations are in photo mode, but I have made some tweaks in video mode as well, but these are just custom modes, the 3 preset custom modes you can have. So when I switch over to video mode, using the switch on the top, if I bring up the modes using the button on top of the camera, you'll see I've got C1, C2, and C3. I haven't done anything particularly clever with these. All I use them for is a very quick way to switch between 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second, and 120. So if I suddenly feel the need for slow-mo, I can flick over very quickly without having to go in the menus again. If you're not used to these, you can set them on the spanner menu on the 5th page, and then under custom shooting mode 1, 2, 3. You set your camera up the way you want it, and then you come into this menu and register it as one of the presets. Then you can go back, change it again, register it as number 2, number 3, etc. And once you've got them set in the menus, you can quickly change between them using the mode dial. If I switch over to C1, I'll show you how I've got this configured. I've got it at 30 frames a second, shutter speed of a 60th, f4, and native ISO of 800. And obviously you can change the f-stop here. Custom mode 2, that's at 60 frames a second here. And finally, custom mode 3 for video. This is set for 120 frames a second, so it's 125th shutter speed, and same for the other two. They're my starting point. I can change them both, obviously. That's how I've undone all of Canon's hard work and set my camera up the way I like it. I use it like this every day, and I find being able to flick between the different autofocus modes so quickly is an absolute lifesaver. If you've learned anything new in this video, or if you've got a custom configuration you think I should know about, let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, if you could click that like button and maybe consider subscribing, that'd be great as well. But for now, that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.